Welcome to today's episode of the Declutter Hub podcast, your channel for super easy, no-nonsense advice on how to declutter and organise your home. Please welcome your hosts, professional organisers Ingrid Jansen and Lesley Spellman.
Hello and welcome listeners to episode 116 of the Declutter Hub podcast. I'm Ingrid.
And I'm Lesley.
If you have clutter and want to sort it out, this is the show for you. Now, in today's episode, Lesley and I are talking about why decluttering is transformational. People think that decluttering is just about having a bit less clutter, but we know from experience that it's so much more than that. And I'm getting all excited, Lesley, to talk about this because we see the changes, don't we? We see it up close and personal in our Facebook group, during our challenges, in our membership. And I feel privileged to see it all happening, isn't it?
I know we're both tearing up already. We're both like, oh gosh, we feel privileged that we can talk about our absolute favorite thing today, which is why decluttering is so life-changing for so many people. And so, yes, we thought we'd devote a whole podcast to talking about our favorite topic, just in case you've not explored exactly why decluttering is a good thing. In our latest challenge that we did, there are so many transformational light bulb moments for people, and people just don't realize just how life-changing it can be. And that's what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about the basic things that you've probably already thought about and already know. We'll skip through those and then we'll really dig deep on why it's transformational and what we have seen.
Because the thing is, Lesley, people think that decluttering is just, I'm going to put something in a bag and I'm going to bring the bag to the charity shop or the charity or the Goodwill or the op shop or whatever it is, and I'm decluttered. But it's everything around that then happens when you declutter more and more. That's really where the transformation starts, isn't it?
Exactly. In some ways, the actual decluttering of things and putting things into a charity bag and sending them off to wherever you're going to send them is almost a byproduct of the job that we do. You know, people are like, really? Professional organizer? Is that actually a job? It wouldn't be a job if we were just putting things into bags and sending them to the charity shop. That's not the skill. The skill is guiding people through this journey of transformation and changing their lives. That's what we do, and that's what we do so well. It's about emotions, it's about connections, it's about habits, it's about changing mindset completely. It is not about putting things into a bag and sending it to the charity shop, although that's part of the process, isn't it?
Of course it is. And the thing is, when people start on a decluttering journey, they're like, I just want to have less piles to step over. That's my aim here today. I want to declutter so I don't have to kind of tiptoe around my house trying to kind of step over things. And I want to be able to find items. I just want to have less clutter. But once you start to kind of then look at that, it's like, oh, wow, I'm actually, when I've decluttered and everything is in my cupboards, I have extra time because I'm not constantly looking for things. Where are my keys? Where's my bag? Where's my phone? Where are the lunch boxes from the kids? Where are their shoes? Where is that top that I was supposed to have washed and ironed and that's somewhere gone missing in the house? So the first thing people see is that they start to save time, isn't it?
Yeah, time is a big one, isn't it? I mean, there's some crazy statistics about how much time you spend every day looking for things that you have lost. How easy is it for you to put your hand on things that you need as you're running out of the door on an errand? A lot of people spend so much time looking for things like keys, looking for hats and gloves when you're going out with your children in the morning, looking for paperwork that you need, all of those kind of things. You need to have a defined home for things so that you don't waste our precious time looking for things that you need to exist on a day-to-day basis.
Yes, because we all have the same 24 hours in a day. I think because we are organized, Lesley, and we are decluttered and we're organized, we can get a lot more done because we know where everything is. So we can spend our time very wisely. And people who start on their decluttering journey, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm just having all this extra time, because you don't waste it looking for things. Now, the other thing I think we see all the time is that people really start to feel less overwhelmed. And that's, I think, the big thing that everybody says to us, I'm feeling so overwhelmed. I don't know where to start anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Overwhelm is a huge emotion. That's one that we absolutely want to take away. Who wants to feel overwhelmed? We need to take that away. We need to feel calm, don't we? And that comes from decluttering, yes, having less stuff, organizing the stuff that you've got so you can find it. Again, we jump back to this idea of that being organized is going to save you time in the long run. It's really important. That's what makes us overwhelmed, is this lack of control that we have. That is what makes us overwhelmed. Our stuff overwhelms us because it controls us and we're not controlling it.
Very wise words, Lesley, I think. And it's very interesting to see, because once people also have less clutter and they feel more in control of their stuff, they then feel more in control of their time and what they do, and in control of their home. It's the vicious circle starts to become a positive one, in kind of one is like a whirlwind that people feel constantly dragged down by. It's like almost a tornado. While if you start to go, okay, I'm going to go into the center of this and I'm going to work on it from the inside out, then you start to kind of go, wow, this feels so much better. And then what we see is then it starts to impact other things, isn't it, Lesley? It's in the beginning, it's like the time and the overwhelm. But then once that is under control, then we start to see all the other benefits, which makes decluttering and having a less cluttered house feel transformational.
Yeah, exactly. And let's not think that we're only talking about homes with huge volumes here and chaotic volumes. That's not the case, because everybody's level of tolerance of clutter is different. So you and I, Ingrid, yes, for the most part, our houses are clutter-free, kind of, in a normalish way, definitely not minimalist. That's not what we're all about. Our houses have defined homes for things. We can find what we need. But sometimes in those 24 hours that we all have, you and I have crazy weeks. And sometimes there are things that we would like to do on a day-to-day basis that get missed because other things take precedence. And things start to become a little bit more chaotic in our world with our standards than we would like. And the overwhelm starts to build for us. And so it might be your desk in your office that you've worked with for 2 or 3 days, and things just start to pile up. Every now and again, we need to do that little reset on our desk, and that makes us feel so much better for the day ahead. So we're not just talking about people with huge volumes here. We're talking about your definition of what chaotic is, and that is different for different people. There are lots of people around who live with huge volumes of stuff in their house and like it that way, that don't feel overwhelmed by the stuff that's in their house. And there are people who have very few things in their house that feel completely overwhelmed as soon as any kind of disorganization starts to take hold. So let's talk about some of the very tangible benefits that you can get from decluttering your house. Number one, Ingrid.
Well, what we see is that people start to really feel really proud of themselves, don't they? They're like, yes, I did it. I can do it. This is so nice. I've done this drawer. I've done this cupboard. I've done this wardrobe. And they can then build on that feeling proud and feeling that achievement of having done something and finished it. And then you've got that motivation to then go on, I'm going to try another cupboard. I'm going to try another corner cupboard, or another chest of drawers, or another bedside table, or another toy box, because they're like, I have successfully done this one thing, and I'm going to build on that. I'm going to do the next thing.
And I think that's probably because for a lot of people who have decluttered many, many times and have not done that in what they would consider to be a successful way, decluttering has defeated them. And so when you achieve it, You know, it's golden that you do that because you believe and are told so many times from other people who have judged you. And let's face it, we are judged by a lot of people a lot if we have cluttered homes, from people who don't understand the why. Why has this chaos started to take over in your house? And we've talked about in many, many podcasts before, all of the different traumatic things and things that life throw at us along the way. Those are the kind of things that cause the clutter in the first place. What we're talking about in this podcast is how it feels once you actually take a hold of that. But ultimately, that judgment that we've had from so many other people makes us feel very down about our ability to achieve that. And so when we do, even if it's on a very small level, and that's what we are big advocates of here, take it small, break it down into small chunks. When we achieve that drawer, that wardrobe, that cupboard, that junk drawer, that stationery drawer, whatever that is, we feel a huge sense of achievement and pride in what we've done.
Yeah, and it's all about giving yourself that pat on the back and celebrating those wins. What we see a lot is like, oh, I've only done this drawer. And we're like, no, you've done the drawer. Yay. Which thing are you going to do next? Pat yourself on the back, be kind of yourself, celebrate that win, and go to the next thing. Because you can't do a whole house in a month. It's just not feasible. You have to break it down, exactly what you're saying, Lesley, in small, small chunks. Because then you can have that achievement and exactly be proud of yourself.
Now, there's one thing as well, Ingrid, that a lot of people don't really talk about, and this is a huge benefit because it's a big problem for a lot of people, which is all about saving money. Now, we've talked about saving time, we've talked about the pride and sense of achievement. Let's talk about money. So we save money by decluttering. And how do we do that then?
I know, it's interesting because we think, oh, you're just giving everything away. But actually, when you have less clutter in your house, you know far better what you have. So you then don't have to buy it again. And you don't need to have 12 spares because they're scattered around the house. You know that 1 or 2 spares is plenty. You know where they are. You know when they're running out. And you then buy it again in kind of going in the shop and thinking, oh, have I run out or not? Have I got hand soap? Did that body wash run out? Because then those volumes build up enormously and then they go off because they've been in your cupboard so long. And that's what we see a lot within our membership as well, that our members start to use up the products because they're all putting it in one place. And they're like, I had no idea of the volumes of stuff that I have in my house. And by putting it all together, I now see this. And this means actually I've had a massive wake-up call. I don't have to buy this again. It's not only with shampoos and body wash, it's with everything, toothpaste, pasta, washing up liquid, washing powder, you name it. The volumes are enormous because if it's in different places, you just can't oversee how much you have. So you really save money in day-to-day items as well. It's not only about clothes or books or technology. It's also in the day-to-day items. And that kind of money really adds up, I believe.
And of course, once we go through that process of gathering like with like and starting to use up the things that we have, particularly if they're consumables, we then get that sense of achievement again, which we jump back to when we feel proud that we've been able to do that. There's nothing as satisfying as using up things that you have got and not having to go out and buy more. We feel that that's a win, don't we? And that's something that we see all the time. So decluttering saves you a lot of money because you reconnect with the things that you have. You don't go out and buy things that you don't need. You don't go to the shops and think, I do know that I've got hand soap somewhere at home, but I can't spend 2 hours this afternoon trying to find it. And so therefore I'm going to buy it anyway. So sometimes it's not that you can't remember. Sometimes it's even that you know it's there, but you haven't got the energy or the time to go through and try and find it. So it's an interesting one, the money one, because it's not something that people really think about, is it? They think about waste and getting rid of things and how wasteful that is. But actually, let's stop, let's put a stake in the ground, get rid of the things that we don't need anymore and start to focus on using up what we have already, reconnecting with our stuff and making sure that the stuff that we have is the right stuff for us.
I think one of our members actually didn't buy toiletries for like 7 months. She found so much when she was decluttering her house and she put it all together. She was listening to our advice that we give in the membership. And she's like, I actually can't believe it. I think it was 7 months in the end or something. Like, she had not had to buy one bit of toiletries because she was using what she had. It's incredible.
And super satisfying. I mean, I
Yes.
love nothing more than using things up. That's what I'm like there. Like, I just love it. And when people, I've all shared with my husband's a shopper. He loves to buy things in bulk and 5 things at a time. And I'm like, no, don't do that. But that's what he does. And so I love nothing more than using things up. It gives me great satisfaction. What about you? Do you like doing? Are we a bit strange that we get great satisfaction out of using things up, or is that just me?
Absolutely love it. And I actually will also tell to my other family members, don't you even dare opening up a new packet until this is properly used up. And I actually also turn the bottles around. They're like, the shampoo bottles empty. I'm like, no. You turn it around for the day and then you can at least wash your hair 3 more times. Because
I know exactly.
It's just, I'm really kind of, I don't know if it's from my family that we always just used to do that as well. But you can get, it's like the toothpaste is empty. I'm like, no. You roll it up like properly. And you can get at least 4 more days of teeth brushing out of this toothpaste. I think it's just, less waste. And that makes me happy. And that kind of takes us neatly into the environment, doesn't it, Lesley? Because we know a lot of people feel guilty sending stuff to landfill that they no longer want or need. And that's what is a really big problem. And we're all getting far more environmentally conscious. So when you feel, I think, that you've actually really used something, really finished it, that feels good. And that you can then empty that, recycle that empty shampoo bottle and put it in the recycling bin. That feels good. I know plastic isn't great, but at least if you can recycle it, that's a great thing then.
Yeah, and exactly. And I know a lot of people get huge amounts of satisfaction from sharing things around. So things that they don't want anymore, that are, the products of their decluttering process, they share on FreeCycle, give things away, send them to charity. And some people get great satisfaction out of sharing things, sharing it around so people are not buying new. We're using what's already in existence in the world rather than going out and buying brand new things. So I think the decluttering process, because we reconnect with our stuff, because we tend to be faced with the overwhelming amount of things that we have bought in the past that perhaps we didn't need, I think it allows us the opportunity to really reconnect with the environment and what we are doing to the world with our buying and things like that. And so I know certainly one of the things for quite a lot of people is focusing on a more environmental, sustainable journey going forwards.
That's, I think, then once your house has less clutter, there's also more room in your brain almost to kind of go, okay, what else can I do now that makes me happy? Do I want to, I don't know, go to hand soap, or do I want to get different products that are better for the environment? Or because you've got almost the brain power to kind of go, I want to take that next step now, if that's important to you. And then it gives you the opportunity to explore that and to kind of look into that. And I think that's so interesting.
It's hard, isn't it, when you're so overwhelmed with stuff? It's all about breaking things down. And when you feel that overwhelm, when you're inundated with stuff and overwhelm and chaos at home, worrying about whether or not you use a hand soap is low on lots of people's agendas. And you have to go through that full process of kind of self-discovery about your own shopping, what you've done in the past, how your emotions have altered, how life is different now. Because we all go through journeys and life is not the same now as it was 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. We have changed in the way that we view things. Our lives have changed. Our children may have left home. Things shift and we shift with it. And so it's about that sort of journey. I think decluttering, because everything in our home is something that in principle we have chosen to invite into our home. It reflects what we have been in the past, what we want to be in the future, and what we are now. And so it really is a very enlightening journey, and not one that people think about at that deep level. when they actually go into that journey. Would you agree, Ingrid?
I think you really see that within the members and people who are committed to change on a longer term. It's not, they don't see it as a quick fix. They see it as a process that they're moving through. And in the beginning, it's all about those really full rooms and how am I going to do this and all this clutter but once the amount of clutter starts to grow smaller, you see the kind of opening up of, wow, the opportunities almost that arise, far more the where do I go from here? What's important to me? How do I want to spend my time? Which people do I really enjoy hanging out with? What are the hobbies that I love to do? What's always been last on the list for myself and that I now am finding the time to finally get around to doing? People who want to spend more time in nature, people start to move on a healthier lifestyle, because when your kitchen counters are clear and you can actually prepare a meal from scratch and you can do a better job grocery shopping and not wasting fruit and veg because you don't remember what you have, and you can start a meal plan and you know what's in your freezer and all those things, you can see people like, oh my gosh, I'm really reinventing myself. I'm really enjoying the cooking again or the baking again, or it's so relaxing to prepare a meal and then eat something healthy instead of picking up something randomly. All of those things are starting to come into people's lives. It's beautiful.
I think, you summed that up so well there, Ingrid, which is all about it's about the opportunity as well. So the decluttering process is what it is, and it takes as long as it takes for some people, and it is truly transformational. But the nice thing is taking that journey to the next step into that healthier lifestyle, into one where you embrace the hobbies that you wanted to do 10 years ago and you've never been able to because you've always been having to do chores at home. As you say, going out walking, spending more time with friends, wanting to really focus on experiences and not stuff, for so long. And we are just a product of society. So society in the kind of 80s, 90s, noughties, it was very consumerist. I think there's a shift away from that a little bit at the moment. And people, and particularly with COVID as well, where we've been able to, or forced to then effectively, spend more time with family and doing things in nature and going outside and embracing the outdoors, it's made a lot of people see the light and kind of like, it's not really stuff shouldn't be the thing that defines us. It should be our relationships and our goals in life in a different way, not just buying nice things. I'm not saying nice things are not nice. Of course they are. We all need things and we all love things, and there are things that make us really happy. So we are not about embracing a completely minimalist lifestyle, but it's about getting that balance, isn't it? And I think going through a decluttering journey, you can identify that balance and reshift that balance a little bit more.
When you have a lot of clutter, it almost, like we said earlier, it controls you. So you're constantly shifting stuff around from one place to the other. And it just eats up the time. And by creating that time, you can then finally decide, I'm going to spend it on things that I want to do. And that's different for everybody. For some people, it might go, I'm finally going to go to the gym, or I'm going to read that book. I mean, I loved to read books when I was young, but I never get around to it anymore now. And that hour, I'm not spending shifting clutter around. I'm going to sit down and enjoy reading a book. It might be, I love crafting, but my craft room is so cluttered. I've now decluttered it. I can actually explore my creativity again, or I want to use that moment to exercise and to be healthy and be outside. Whatever floats your boat, you're going to get that by having less clutter. But it's not something that people realize when they start on their decluttering journey. It's all that comes later. But that is what is so wonderful.
It is. We're getting all excited again, aren't we, talking about it? So I hope that we've given people real food for thought about how decluttering is so much more than putting something into a bag and donating it. That's not what this is all about. The aim is for decluttering to be life-changing, for your mindset to completely change so that your life is better and it's not defined by the stuff that's in it. And so if we've not convinced you in the previous 115 podcasts, we hope that today's podcast have explained and reiterated and cemented for you exactly what we feel and what we see and our experience of decluttering is.
So Lesley, thank you for summing that up so nicely. Yes. Don't be on the fence. Come and join us. That's why we're here. We're here to help you. Check out our membership if you're thinking to yourself, that is exactly what I want. I want to transform my life. I want to be in 2021, the year that I'm going to tackle this clutter in my house, and all the things that Lesley and Ingrid talk about sound fabulous. And that's what I want too. That's what I want in my life. So listeners, that's it for this episode. We really hope you've enjoyed listening and are inspired to take action, because that's what we love and are all about. And thank you for taking the time to be with us every week. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please share it with other people who think might need some inspiration too. And of course, if you want to have some more handy tips and advice, come and find us in our Facebook group, the Declutter Hub community, or on Instagram, where you can find us is at Declutter Hub. If you would like to have more information about our membership, go to members.declutterhub.com. If you don't want to miss the next weekly episode, please subscribe to the Declutter Hub podcast and it will pop into your notifications each Friday. We've been asking for reviews, and oh my goodness, how fabulous are those reviews. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time out to write us a review. And if you haven't done that yet, please feel free to do so. So thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Declutter Hub podcast. Check out declutterhub.com for more inspiration, and don't forget to tune in next week.